Hello and welcome to week 3. Can you believe you are already about a third of the way through this class? Summertime just flies. I sure hope that everyone is having a great time getting to know each other on the discussion board and really starting to get a feel for how this course is going to run. So this week we're going to finish up the Who section of the book. I'm combining chapters 3 and 4. So, chapter 3 talks about the families, and chapter 4 talks about the teachers and the caregivers. So, the reason I kind of put these two together was because I felt like they're all very supportive and important roles when we're looking at working with children. So, in both of those chapters, there's a lot of fantastic information. In the chapter about the families, it talks about how our family life has changed, and I'm sure all of us would agree. If I were to ask each of you to recall what it was like when you were growing up, if there was family nearby, probably most of you would say that you did. I know my grandmother lived half a mile down the street. My mom stayed at home. And whenever my parents weren't able to be there with me, my grandmother was there. But now we know that a lot of children don't have that kind of support system close to home, especially in our community, because we have such a strong military presence. So the chapter really talks about family systems theory, which is a really interesting theory. And it talks about the changes that we've undergone and looking at families and their roles in childhood development. Chapter 4 talks about the teachers and the caregivers. And I think it's such an interesting note to look at the fact that teachers and caregivers normally have two different definitions. When you look at the PowerPoint for chapter 4, you're going to see that there's a slide that asks what image comes to mind when you think about a teacher and which one comes to mind when you think about a caregiver. And most of us would say when we hear teacher, we think classroom, desks, working with children. And when we think caregiver, we normally think maybe of nurses, those people who come into the home to stay with elderly people. But the fact is that teachers and caregivers go hand in hand. They're exactly the same, especially in early childhood education. Because we're not just there to impart knowledge to children, we're there to actually guide them, care for them, and provide a loving atmosphere for them. So I think that the two chapters are going to go well together. They're not overly long chapters, and I've put the PowerPoints for both chapters 3 and 4 on Blackboard for you. There's also two additional resources I'd like you to look over that go along with these chapters. For chapter 3, there's a resource called the Code of Ethics. It's actually in the back of your textbook, but I've given you the PDF version of it so that you don't actually have to go to the back and read it unless you want to. I just thought that it would be easy for you to have a digital version as well. But that is what guides our moral obligations in early childhood as mandated by NACI. So take some time to read over it, especially paying attention to what our responsibilities are to the families. We have a lot of responsibilities to the families, and it should be that way. They're entrusting their child to us, and so it's important that they know that we're going to treat them with the utmost respect. For chapter 4, the resource that I gave you is called the Virginia Career Lattice. And that's the document that's used in the state of Virginia that kind of shows you the different levels of where you can be when you're working with young children, starting with high school diploma and a little bit of experience, working all the way up to a doctorate degree. What I think is one of the most exciting things to see is that if you are looking to earn your associate's degree in early childhood education, you're already going to be at level 6. 6 out of 9 is not a bad place to be. And each step provides not only more experience, but it normally translates to more pay, which is what we're all looking for. The only thing that's higher is each degree that you get following the associate's degree. So I thought that would be a nice resource for you to have starting out. So chapters 3 and 4 are about the teachers and the caregivers and the families. And the discussion board posting for this week is about your favorite teachers. So When you read through the chapter on the teachers, you're going to see that they give a long list of characteristics of high quality teachers. And probably when you think back over your time in school, you're going to see that your favorite teacher or teachers exhibited a lot of these characteristics. Things like sense of humor, passion, flexibility. So I thought this would be a fun discussion board for you this week to reflect back on some of your favorite teachers and why they were your favorite teachers. Most of us were probably influenced by a favorite teacher that we had over the years, and that's why we want to work with children. We want to be able to do the same thing for children that a teacher did for us when we were younger. So I look forward to reading those discussion board postings. Um, this week, all you need to be working on is finishing up your inclusion project. It's due by midnight on Sunday. One thing I did want to mention is that it appears that the second link for the second video that you need to watch, The Spirit of the Law, was not working. But thank goodness that video is on YouTube. So I have fixed the announcement in Blackboard to update it so that you can actually view the second video from YouTube. And remember, everything you need is in that packet. So the article that you need to read to answer the questions is found in that packet as well. So all you have to do, if you remember, is you go to the assignments link, and when this opens up, you'll see the clipboard with the pencil for the inclusion project. So all you have to do is click on the title of the inclusion project, and when that opens up and you scroll down, you're going to see that there's a place where you can browse for your file. The only thing I ask is please don't do the right submission because when that comes to me, the formatting is completely messed up. It looks like one giant run-on sentence. So please save your file as a Word document and you can upload and attach your file there. The other thing that I wanted to show you was a new button that I put on to Blackboard called Tasks. So when you click on that, what you're going to see is that I have made a list of every assignment you're going to have for the entire semester, and I've given you the due date for it. I know sometimes it can be difficult to have to go back and forth between a lot of different documents in Blackboard. So this way, everything that you need is in Blackboard and you have the due date for it as well. So I just kind of wanted to show you that I had that. The other thing I just kind of wanted to point out to you is I know that it looks like as we get into July that it's very heavy on your assignments, but what I wanted you to know is that things like your video annotations, those are very short. It's about 2 paragraphs. So that's not anything that's going to take you a long time. The observation, you're going to have several weeks to get that done. Same thing for the thematic unit assignment, the schedule, and your centers project. So even though it looks like it's going to be very heavy at the end, you're going to have plenty of time to work on these projects. And once these assignments are available to you, you are absolutely welcome to submit them early. So don't feel like you have to wait until the due date if you already have it done. So that really was what I wanted to show you for this week, what I had added to Blackboard. So I think that's it for week 3. I can't wait to read your inclusion project submissions as well as your favorite teacher discussion boards. And I hope you have a fantastic week and I will see you in week 4.